The valley was quiet, only the sound of the wind moving between the tall rocks. The human soldier walked slowly, scanning the strange world around him. He was far from home, far from Earth, and every step reminded him that this land was not his. The cliffs rose high above him, their surfaces glowing faintly with alien moss. Strange birds circled in the sky, their calls sharp and unfamiliar. He had been sent to scout the region, but something felt wrong. The silence was too heavy, as if the valley itself was holding its breath. The soldier gripped his weapon tighter, his eyes sharp, his instincts alive. Humans were fragile compared to many alien species, but humans also had something else, a will to fight even when the odds were against them. Then he heard it, a cry, thin and desperate. Carried on the wind, the human froze, listening. Another cry followed, then the sharp clash of metal. He ran forward, boots kicking dust across the rocky ground. As he reached a ridge, he looked down into the heart of the valley. What he saw made him stop in shock. A group of small aliens, barely the size of children, were surrounded. Their skin glowed faint blue, their eyes wide with terror. They held tiny spears, but they were no match for the attackers. Towering raiders, dark, scarred creatures with heavy weapons, were closing in. Their roars echoed as they struck down the weaker ones. The small aliens tried to defend themselves, but they were falling fast. The human's jaw tightened. He did not know these creatures. He did not know their names or their culture. But he knew one thing. This was a slaughter, and he could not stand aside. Without hesitation, he slid down the rocky slope, his weapon ready. His boots hit the valley floor with force. The raiders turned, their glowing eyes narrowing at the sight of him. A human was nothing to them, weak flesh compared to their hardened skin. They laughed, raising their blades. But the human did not laugh. He charged, firing his weapon. The blast struck one raider in the chest, sending it crashing to the ground. The others snarled and attacked, but the human moved fast. His training guided his every move. He ducked beneath a heavy swing, rolled aside, and struck back, his blade cut deep. His weapon roared with fire. The small aliens stared in awe. They had never seen anyone fight for them. They had never seen anyone so large and fierce stand in their defense. Their voices rose in cries of hope. The battle was brutal. The raiders outnumbered him, their bodies thick and powerful, but the human fought with a fury they could not match. He took blows that should have broken him, yet he stood. He bled, but he pushed forward. His muscles burned, his breath came heavy, but his spirit only grew stronger. One raider raised its weapon high, ready to crush him. The human caught its arm, twisted, and drove his blade upward. The creature roared in pain before falling. Another raider lunged, but the human turned, striking fast. His eyes burned with focus. His body moved as if the fight was part of him. The small aliens joined in, emboldened by his courage. Their tiny spears struck at the raiders' legs, distracting them. The human shouted for them to stay back, but they refused. They wanted to fight beside him. They wanted to prove they were not helpless. The last raider stepped back, snarling. Its eyes glared at the human. It knew now this was no ordinary creature. This human was dangerous, more dangerous than all the small aliens combined. With a hiss of rage, the raider fled into the shadows of the valley. Silence followed. The human stood in the center of the battlefield, his chest rising and falling with each breath, his arms heavy, his weapon still ready. The ground was littered with fallen raiders. The smell of smoke and blood filled the air. Then came the sound of movement. The small aliens gathered around him, their glowing eyes wide, their voices rising in excitement. They touched his arms, his clothing, as if to make sure he was real. They had been saved, not by their own, but by this strange giant from another world. One of the small aliens, older than the rest, stepped forward. He wore a band of carved metal across his chest, marking him as their leader. He bowed deeply before the human. His voice shook but carried respect. No one has ever defended us. not even our own allies. But you, human, you stood for us. You fought for us. You are no ordinary being." The human blinked, wiping the blood from his brow. He had acted without thought, without plan. Yet now the tribe looked at him as if he were something more. He had not only defended them, he had become part of their story, and in that valley, beneath the twin suns, the whispers began, whispers of a prophecy, whispers of destiny, whispers that this human was not just a soldier, but a turning point in their history. The human stood silently, unaware of what his actions would bring, but the small aliens knew their lives had changed forever, and so had his. The valley was quiet again, but the silence was no longer heavy with fear. It was filled with the sound of small voices, whispers of amazement, cries of relief. The battle had ended, the raiders had fled or fallen, and the tribe of tiny aliens gathered around the human like children around a fire. Their glowing eyes shone with gratitude. Their small hands reached out to touch the giant who had saved them. The human stood still, his chest still rising with heavy breaths. His arms ached, his legs trembled, but his spirit was steady. He looked at the small faces turned up to him, wide with awe. He had never asked for their thanks, he had only acted. Yet now he saw the weight of what he had done. The chief of the tribe, the elder with the silver band across his chest, stepped forward. His movements were slow and respectful. He looked at the human, his head bowed low, his voice shook with emotion. "No one has ever done what you have done today, human. You risked your life for us, and for that, our hearts belong to you." The human frowned slightly. His voice was calm but firm. "I did not fight for reward. I fought because it was right. Those raiders would have destroyed you." The chief raised his head, his glowing eyes softened. "And yet you did what no other outsider ever has. Our people are small, easy prey to the strong. For generations, we have been ignored or enslaved. But you, a stranger, stood in our defense. That is a gift we can never repay." The crowd murmured in agreement. Their voices rose, chanting words in their own tongue. The sound filled the valley like a rising storm. The human shifted uneasily, unused to such attention. But he did not turn away. The young among the tribe ran forward, laughing and clinging to his legs. They tugged at his boots, offering him small trinket stones carved with strange markings, feathers of local birds, scraps of woven cloth. To them, these were treasures, and they gave them freely. The human knelt down, accepting the gifts with care. His large hands held the tiny offerings as though they were priceless. The children giggled, their voices filled with joy. For the first time in many seasons, their people had hope. The chief raised his staff high. Silence fell again. His voice rang strong. "According to our law, one who saves the tribe must be honored. It is our way, our sacred custom, and so we will honor this human as we have honored no other. He is now a friend of the tribe, a protector, and his name will be carried in our songs." The tribe cheered, their cries echoing through the cliffs. The human felt a weight press against him, not of fear, but of responsibility. He had not asked for honor, but it had found him. He realized now that his life was tied to theirs, at least for this moment. Food was brought quickly, bowls of steaming roots and sweet fruit. They laid it before him, urging him to eat. The human hesitated, then accepted. The taste was strange but rich. Every bite carried with it their gratitude. The alien sat close, watching him, smiling whenever he smiled. As the night came, lanterns were lit, glowing with warm light. The tribe gathered in a circle around the fire. The priests of the tribe sang songs of old battles, of heroes who defended their people. But tonight, they added new words, words about the human, about the giant who stood against the raiders. Their voices rose into the night, weaving his name into legend. The human listened, his face thoughtful. He had fought many battles, seen many victories, but none felt like this. Here he was not just a soldier, he was something more. He could see it in their eyes. He could feel it in their songs. When the songs ended, The chief approached once more. His voice carried both pride and something deeper. Human, you have given us more than safety. You have given us dignity. Our children will sleep tonight without fear, and for that, we owe you not only thanks, but something greater. The human's brows furrowed, his voice cautious. I need no reward. I only wanted to help. The chief smiled faintly. That is why you are worthy. But our law is clear. A protector must be bound to our people, and tomorrow we will give you the gift of honor, the greatest gift we can offer. The human blinked, unsure of the meaning. The tribe around him whispered excitedly, their glowing eyes filled with anticipation. He felt a chill run down his spine. He had no idea what they meant, but he knew it would change everything. The fire crackled, the songs faded, the night deepened. The human looked at the stars above, wondering what destiny he had stumbled into. The aliens curled close together in sleep, but their whispers of gratitude echoed long into the night. And beneath the moons of the alien world, the human soldier realized he had become more than an outsider. He was now part of their story, a story that had only just begun. The morning sun rose over the valley, casting long golden beams across the alien village. The air was filled with the soft hum of insects and the chatter of the small people as they prepared for a new day. Yet all of them kept glancing toward the human who sat quietly near the fire pit. His large form, a sharp contrast against their tiny houses made of stone and woven fibers. He had stayed the night at their request, surrounded by watchful eyes. They had given him food, a blanket, and even a small shelter, though it was far too small for his size. The human barely slept. His mind replayed the words of the chief. Tomorrow we will give you the gift of honor. What did that mean, he wondered. What kind of gift could a tiny tribe give him? Soon the chief appeared, walking slowly with his staff in hand. The crowd parted for him. Their glowing eyes followed him with respect. He stopped before the human, raising his voice so all could hear. By our law, the one who defends our tribe must be rewarded. Our ancestors made this law so that courage is never forgotten, and sacrifice is always honored. The human nodded politely, his deep voice calm. I understand, but I do not need reward. I only did what was right. The chief's expression softened, but his words were firm. That is why you must accept. It is not for you alone, it is for us. If we do not give the gift, we dishonor our history, and the spirits of our ancestors will turn from us. The human frowned, sensing there was no way to refuse without offending their entire culture. Around him, the tribe whispered eagerly. Their voices rose like a tide, carrying the weight of excitement. Something important was about to happen. The priests of the tribe stepped forward. Their robes were decorated with feathers and small stones that glittered in the light. They began to chant in low voices, circling the human. Their words echoed against the valley walls, ancient phrases that carried both reverence and warning. At the end of the chant, the chief raised his staff. His voice rang out, the gift of honor is not gold, not weapons, not treasure. The gift of honor is life. We give you one of our own, to stand with you, to share your path, to bind your strength to our tribe. The human's eyes widened, his heart skipped. He thought he had misheard. But the chief's words were clear. The tribe erupted in cheers, clapping their small hands together, chanting the old words of their ancestors. Then the chief turned and motioned with his staff. From among the crowd stepped a young alien girl. She was smaller than the others, her skin a softer shade of blue that glowed gently in the morning light. Her long silver hair shimmered as she walked, and her bright eyes fixed on the human with a mixture of fear and wonder. She wore a simple robe tied with golden threads. Her movements were graceful yet hesitant. She stopped before the human, bowing low. The chief's voice boomed. This is the daughter of our people. She is your gift of honor. She is your bond. She is your wife. The human froze. His mouth opened, but no words came. He stared at the girl, then at the chief, then at the cheering tribe. His voice finally broke through, steady but shocked. Wife, you cannot mean this. I did not come here for this. I cannot accept. The chief lifted his hand, silencing the crowd. His voice carried authority. This is our custom. It is not about possession. It is about unity. A warrior who defends us becomes part of us. He is bound to us, and we to him. Through her. You are tied to our tribe. You are one with our people now. The human looked at the young girl again. Her eyes met his, wide and uncertain, but filled with a strange kind of courage. She spoke softly, her voice trembling. I will serve with honor. I will walk beside you. I will not shame my tribe. The tribe cheered again. The sound echoing across the valley. Children danced. Elders raised their hands to the sky. To them, this was not strange. This was tradition. The human's mind raced. He had fought wars, faced death, but nothing had ever left him so uncertain. He could not disrespect their law, not after they had treated him as a savior. Yet the weight of what they offered pressed on him like a mountain. The chief stepped closer, his glowing eyes narrowing. You are stunned, human, but you must see the truth. You did not stumble into our valley by chance. The gate of destiny brought you here, and our ancestors prepared this path. This bond will not break, not in this life or the next. The human's chest tightened. He looked around at the sea of expectant faces. He realized the choice was not his alone. The tribe had already decided. The law had already bound him, and in that moment, as the chants rose louder, he understood one thing. His life had changed forever. The air in the valley seemed to thicken after the chief's words. The human stood frozen, staring at the young alien girl before him. The tribe clapped and cheered, their glowing eyes filled with joy. But the human felt only confusion. He had fought for their safety, not for this. He had expected gratitude. Maybe a feast or a token, but never this, never a wife. The girl kept her head bowed, her silver hair falling across her shoulders like flowing light. She was beautiful in a strange way, delicate yet strong. Her blue skin shimmered softly in the sun. Her hands trembled, but she did not step back. She stood there as though she accepted her fate. The chief raised his staff, his voice cutting through the noise. By our law, the protector is never left alone. He is joined with one of our blood, so that his strength becomes ours and our life becomes his. This is the bond of honor. This is the way of our ancestors. The human finally found his voice. His words came sharp and heavy. I did not ask for this. I came here only to fight for what was right. I cannot take her as a wife. This is not my way. The crowd fell silent. Their glowing eyes turned to the chief, waiting for his answer. The elder's face hardened, but his voice remained steady. You misunderstand, human. She is not a possession. She is not a burden. She is a symbol. Through her, your name will live in our tribe forever. Without this bond, your victory will fade. With this bond, your courage will become eternal. The human's jaw tightened. He looked at the young girl again. She slowly lifted her head, her eyes meeting his. They were bright and uncertain, but within them he saw something deeper, a spark of trust. She whispered softly, I am honored, protector. I will walk beside you. The human's chest tightened. He wanted to protest again, but the weight of the moment pressed him down. The entire tribe was watching, and he realized that refusing now would not only insult their leader, but crush the spirit of the people he had just saved. The tribe began to sing. Their voices rose in a rhythmic chant. The priests danced in circles, throwing powder into the air that shimmered with golden sparks. Children laughed, clapping their tiny hands. Elders swayed with closed eyes, murmuring blessings. It was a celebration, and he was at the center of it, whether he wanted to be or not. The girl was led to his side by two older women. They placed a necklace of glowing stones around her neck, marking her as the gift of honor. Then they guided her hand into his. Her fingers were small and light against his rough skin. She looked up at him shyly, as if waiting for him to reject her. The human swallowed hard, his voice low. You do not have to do this. She shook her head gently. It is my choice too. I am proud to be chosen. I am proud to stand with the one who saved us. The human was stunned. He had expected fear or reluctance, but instead he saw courage. For her, this was not a burden, it was destiny. The chief stepped closer, his eyes glowing with satisfaction. You see, human, this is not punishment. This is honor. She is not just given to you. She is given to all of us through you. Together, you represent the bond between our people and yours. The human remained silent. His thoughts raced. He was a soldier, trained for war, not for this. Yet as he looked at the small girl beside him, he felt something shift. Perhaps this was not about him at all. Perhaps it was about them. The celebration continued. The tribe prepared a great feast, roasting strange creatures over fire, pouring sweet juices into carved cups. They sang songs that wove his name into their history. They danced around him, circling like stars around a planet, and every time the girl stepped near him, the tribe cheered louder, yet inside, the human's heart was heavy. He did not know what to do. He did not want to hurt her or the tribe, but he also did not understand how to accept what they demanded. He felt trapped between two worlds, his own and theirs. As night fell, the fires burned high. The chief raised his staff once more, declaring, "From this day forward, the human is bound to us. Through courage he defended us. Through bond he joins us. His strength is ours. His fate is ours. And she," he pointed to the girl, "is the bridge that ties us together." The tribe erupted in cheers again, their voices echoing into the night sky. The human stood tall, his expression unreadable. The girl beside him lowered her eyes, her hands still trembling in his. He had faced battles, he had faced death, but nothing had left him more stunned than this.